Guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Shifting Lanes Garage. My name's Chad, and today is a huge day, guys. Huge. The transmission is finally back at Blue Sky, which means the build can start on my Mustang. We can start building her. That means we're one day closer to getting her on the dyno, one day closer to getting her out and actually taking her for a drive. It has been since August since I have driven this vehicle. I cannot tell you how excited I am, because it's, imagine like the most excited kid on Christmas Eve and multiply that by like 10 million. It's gonna be back. I'm gonna be able to drive it soon, and it's gonna have a whole lot of horsepower. Real quick, if you're unfamiliar with Blue Sky and those guys, I'll put links in the description below. Basically, it's the shop where the Mustang's being built, and well, if you've been seeing some of our shorts, some of our reels, etc., you know that this shop is legit. My Mustang could not be in a better place. They have a ton of really cool builds. Definitely go check them out on Instagram and their website down below if you have a build that you might want them to take for you, because again, they do incredible work. Anyway, while I say all of that, you might be looking around and being like, Chad, that is an unfamiliar surrounding. You obviously sold the C30. What in the heck are you driving, and is that a new vehicle? Yes, it is. This is a winter vehicle. You can see it's got a few years on her, but you wanna go check her out? Yeah, you always want to check out a new vehicle regardless, right? Let's go check her out. This is a 2000 Dodge Durango. I know, very exciting, but as you can imagine, with the Mustang and living in New Jersey, we get winter. I needed something with four-wheel drive, and this one is pretty reliable. Well, it is now. I'll get to that in a second. But, you know, it's got its nicks, it's got its bumps, it's got its, you know, rust, but no rust where it's important. As you can tell behind me, there's still some things we need to fix on her. But one of the funniest things is, I literally had her for a day, everything was going great, and then, well, this happened. Oh, I shouldn't be driving this car. This is a bad idea. Here it comes again. Oh, that's not great. Yep, that was a piece of the shoe or something in the drum brake doing things that made an awful noise and made the car feel terrible. We've since fixed the drum brakes. It's all brand new back there. You're also probably looking at, one, the process, which was a pain in the ass, and two, yeah, the shoes on this that were the shoes that came off of this, yeah, they were shiny. Top tip, if any of your brake parts that actually do the braking are shiny, you might want to replace it. And anyway, about 2-3 hours after I noticed that issue, this window decided it no longer wanted to be in the frame and fell straight down. We do have some other things. This thing sat for forever, so I think it's got a bad fuel filter, so startup isn't. Sometimes it starts pretty good, sometimes it takes a little effort. It hasn't stranded me yet, so hopefully that continues. But other than that, it's pretty solid. I mean, the seat, let's see if I can recreate this for you. Here we go. I mean, probably should get that looked at, but all in all, it's a solid vehicle. Like I said, I didn't need anything fancy. I just needed something where the four-wheel drive worked. Should there be snow in a winter in New Jersey where there hasn't really been that much, but I'm playing the law of averages here. So, I mean, I wasn't planning on it being a project, but if you guys want to see more of the Durango, let me know down in the comments below. You're not here today for this video to see this Durango, and if you are, I have questions. You're here to talk Mustang, specifically the Mustang's new transmission. So we're gonna head on over to Blue Sky, find Jeff, and he's gonna explain all the nerdy details on why that transmission is best for my Mustang. Alrighty boys, there she is, fully built by Capible Transmissions. I have Jeff, the man, the myth, the legends, who's going to be building the Mustang, and I figured it's better to have him explain why this is so much better than myself, because, well, obviously he knows, I know maybe like 0.5% of what he does. So real quick, why is that trans better than the stock trans?
So stock trans, it's pretty good for what it is. Its main problem is Honestly, the main problem is the clutch. The clutch causes it to the trans to not disengage, which then causes you to shift, to bend shift forks, to break gears. But internally inside this one, another problem the stock one has is the input shaft. It's a 23 spline input shaft from the factory. This is a 26 spline that's also been hardened, rem polished, and cryo treated, so it's just all around a beefier input shaft. It has a full G-force gear set in it that Ben Calamer specs made to order for him only. So they're a little bit more straighter cut, which will make the trans a little louder, but it will increase strength quite a bit. He also upgrades the synchros to a carbon fiber synchro, which is going to stop the trans when you're trying to shift it so you can get it into gear, which is the main reason manual transmissions fail, is because you're shifting so quick the trans doesn't have enough time to slow down and stop itself and then line up into gear. I believe the main shaft stays the same. Puts bronze guides on the shift forks, and that's just for, you know, more rigidity equals better timing getting into gears.
Yeah, because the list is bronze shift pads, billet shift rail stop, the synchros you mentioned, micro polishing, and the billet gear set. Is it basically just kind of making this as close to like almost like a Tremec as possible, or is it just making the MT82 as best as it can be? The
Tremec stock isn't, it's a little bit stronger than the MT82, but this is now stronger than like a T56, you know, a factory T56 out of a car, factory Tremec 6-speed. Tremec's can have the same issues. They'll go through third gear pretty quick on you. So this is actually stronger than a T56 out of the box, and it just bolts right back into your car. You don't have to change drive shaft, cross members, shifters.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a custom tune. Well, actually, you do have to get a custom tune because the gearing
Yes.
could change in this. If you went with the stage 2, you wouldn't have to get the tune on it.
Now, and the gears that are the gearing is taller now.
So yes, well, I believe they shortened it up. So originally your 5th gear, I don't think there is a true 1-to-1. Normally most people, you dyno a car in 1-to-1, which typically in manual transmissions was always 4th gear. On these stock, it was 5th gear. Now he's made it so your 1-to-1 is 4th gear. So basically, yeah, they're a little bit steeper. They're gonna be a little bit longer for you, which is better going down the track. So now you won't have to shift the 5th going down the track. You can just stick it in 4th, and that'll be out the back door gear. So it saves you one shift, which is
right in a manual.
It could be, you know, a quarter of a second depending on how fast you are. It could be a millisecond depending on how fast you are.
Now, I see Ford Performance sells it even if you don't touch the trans. Is no lift shift an option with this now?
Yes, yes it is.
But it would have to be tuned in if I understand it correctly.
So we would have to get a watt box for it, basically, or like an MSD 2-step. The only tuning really for it is you have to turn off the misfire logic, because it's the 2-step is like hitting a rev limiter, so it thinks it's misfiring. But otherwise, you know, and it's hit or miss. That's like, some people like the no lift shift thing. Some people think they can shift quicker just breathing on the throttle.
Yeah, I was just curious because I don't plan on doing it, but I was just, obviously with it being stronger now.
Yeah, so the idea is you're cutting spark. So you take the load off the trans, which, you know, allows you to keep your foot to the floor. And by taking the load off the trans, it makes it easier to click it into gear. So there's some people that say a no lift shift setup isn't as hard on a trans as a normal lift, you know, clutch lifting your foot up off the gas type of shift. Just because you're not unloading it and smacking it as hard with the throttle. The car's doing it for you.
Gotcha.
Whoo, boy, that transmission is an absolute animal. Like I said in the video, it is no longer a stock transmission. In fact, the only thing that's stock about it is the case. Everything else has been rebuilt. It's going to handle about 1,000 horsepower at the crank, which means we have room to grow, especially when we're looking at 700 plus wheel horsepower when this thing is all put together. But I mean, the fact that we have the transmission means we can start the build. And oh my gosh, it's been since August since I've driven this car. Being that much closer to driving her again, seeing her on the dyno, seeing how much horsepower this thing makes is I'm rambling like an idiot because I could not be more excited for this. So you're definitely going to want to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it with your friends, and ring that notification bell, because trust me guys, you are not going to want to miss any part of this build. But as for this video, that's pretty much going to be a wrap. I'll catch you in the next one.